Hey there Internet, it's Colin here from Cascade Juggling, and today we're going to have a look at part 2 of our beginner Poi Juggling series. In the last video, we had a look at the pendulum cascade, which I think is a great one to start with. But today we're going to have a look at the reverse beat cascade. And we're also going to touch on the forward beat cascade as well, even though I find it is way harder and way less useful, but it uses the same theory as the reverse beat cascade. So yeah, worth touching on at the same time. So the main difference between the reverse beat cascade and the pendulum cascade is your offhand. In the pendulum cascade, your offhand's really passive and it's just swinging back and forth as you catch. With the reverse beat cascade, it's going to be way more active and it's going to be having to like keep spins going and put force into stuff while you're doing a throw with the other hand. So the sight swap, in case you know sight swap, for the pendulum is like 3-3-3, whereas this cascade uses 4x2. If you don't know sight swap, don't worry, it's not important for learning it. Okay, so let's get started with one poi. The important thing to think about here is what your offhand's doing and the order that you're going to do things in. So what's going to happen is as you catch, you're going to pendulum and stall the poi down, you're going to bring it into a spin, and then you're going to release. This leads to having like a really solid throw and really consistent throw. So I think it actually probably ends up more of a consistent cascade than say the pendulum, but it's a little harder to start with because there's a lot going on. For practicing this, you just really want to make sure that your one poi is super consistent. Catch, stall, spin, throw. Catch, stall, spin, throw. Making sure this is really solid is going to really help with the rest of it, because you want to be able to do the offhand without really thinking about it, so you can concentrate on getting a nice throw. One of the things I think is really good about the reverse beat cascade is it's got a really forgiving catch. As you can see, I can have the poi over rotated, under rotated, or anywhere in between, and really I'm still going to be able to catch this and bring it into a spin and get a nice consistent throw off the end of it. I think this is the main strength of this cascade, because with the pendulum, it's got a lot of play for where it's going to go. Whereas this, because it's coming from a spin at like a static position, you can get a really, really consistent throw. When practicing this with two then, I think the best way to start off is just to have one poi in each hand and keeping that poi in each hand. So the thing that's going to help your timing here is making sure that the throw and the spin with the offhand are happening at the same time. So as you release one, you're going to spin the other, and it feels very simultaneous here. So almost like same time, same direction sort of feeling. Once you're happy with just the timing of this, getting like two poi going up and down, try crossing them and making sure that you start right hand first and then left hand first, so you do both sides of it and you don't end up with really like one-sided pattern here. The grip that we're using is going to be the same as the pendulum cascade. I like to have my thumb and first finger grabbing the tether, rest of the fingers round, and the handle sticking out just below the bottom of my hand. When it comes to releasing two from one hand, we're going to use exactly the same technique as we did in the pendulum cascade video. So I'm just going to point you to that video there. I think it's that side of the screen, maybe that side, don't know. But yeah, check that out and come back to this. Some tips for getting three poi running in this pattern. Most importantly is going to be having a really, really solid one poi and two poi exchange. That's the most important thing I can get you to practice or think about, is just having that one poi. So the offhand is second nature and you just don't need to think about it at all. The other thing is height. This cascade generally I find runs a little bit higher than say the pendulum cascade, and it's just going to give you more time so you can get that spin really consistent and smooth, and you're not kind of like flailing about at the sides trying to like speed it up enough to keep it in time. So making sure you've got enough height. So that's it for the reverse beat cascade. Now we're going to have a look at the forwards beat. My disclaimer here, I think this one is way harder, probably way less consistent, and probably slightly less useful on its own. However, there are some really good reasons to learn it though. First of all, it's going to make catching throws that go really weird easier in some ways. So if you get like a really bad throw out of one of your other ones and you can't catch it in a way that allows you to pendulum it back or bring it into a reverse, the forwards is sometimes a really good way of saving a pattern that's gone all haywire and you just want to keep that catch going. So yeah, knowing this is really good. Apart from that, there are a number of like more advanced tricks that kind of build off this pattern. So learning it now is going to really help you along the rest of the way. So the main difference with the reverse beat and the forwards beat is the order that things happen in. With the reverse, you catch, stall, spin, throw. With forwards beat, it's going to go the other way around. So it's going to catch, spin, stall, throw. And your spin is forwards rather than backwards. This is a little bit inconsistent because, as you can see, the throw comes straight from your stall, so you don't get a lot of time to line it up and get the momentum going on it, and you kind of just got to launch it out there. This is why I think it's, yeah, a lot harder to get to grips with at the start, and maybe a little less pretty in some ways, but hey, that's personal preference. So for getting this running, we're going to start with one poi again, and you're just going to drill this first part, making sure one poi goes through the pattern really consistent. Catch, spin, stall, throw, catch, spin, stall, throw. And making sure this is super smooth and you can just do it without thinking about it. Moving on to 2, we're going to start in the same way, one in each hand, just going straight up and down, trying to get that timing right. Once you're happy with the timing, try crossing them and see what happens. Once you got 2 going, left hand first, right hand first, other way around. I don't know my left and my right today, it seems. Right hand first, left hand first. There we go. The one that's going to probably allow you to have a bit of leeway here is, again, height. Poi juggling is kind of high for most of the times. It works easiest when it's nice and high. As I said last time, our ceiling in here is not great for this, so if you got a space with a bit more height or you're outside, just throw it high and it's going to make it easy because you're going to have plenty of time to do the rest of the stuff underneath. As far as tips for getting 3 going here, I don't know if there's really anything else that I can give you that I haven't already said about the 2 previous cascades. Just making sure that one is really solid. It's going to make all the difference here, and a bit of perseverance. This one took me way longer than any of the other ones to learn, and I still don't think it's quite as like solid as any of the other ones, but still, keep at it and you'll get it eventually. One last tip for running the forwards beat cascade is that I find starting into the forwards beat is pretty much impossible. I generally find that if you start with the reverse beat and then transition into the forwards beat, that's going to be your easiest way to get this going. And the bonus trick. So, if you've got the pendulum cascade, the forwards cascade, and the reverse beat cascade, you can combine all 3 of them to do like one throw of each and then just continuously alternating. This is a training pattern that I quite often run as like a warm-up and just to get myself in the mood, because you're going to like have to be alternating every throw with every hand, and it's a little bit confusing, but yeah, I think this is a really fun one to try and a good way to challenge yourself. Okay, so that's kind of... no more okays, no more saying okay, too many last video. So that's it for part 2 of the Poi Juggling series. I hope this has helped you get some new tricks down, and yeah, if you liked the video, hit subscribe, give us a like, it really helps, it really does help. Next time, I think we're going to have a look at the wall plane cascade and the overbeat cascade. I say overbeat, but some people call it like a 1.5. It's a little bit strange because you don't catch it by the head doing a 1.5. It actually comes behind you, which is why I like to think of it as the overbeat cascade. But yeah, the ones we've done so far have all been wheel plane, and let's break it up and do some wall plane next time. See you in the next video.